Welcome to my channel Brain Decoded. Today, we are going to talk about a single, powerful 5-minute routine that can completely shift your brain into a state of laser-like focus. This is not about motivation alone, and it's not about willpower. Your brain is not a simple switch that flips on when you decide to pay attention. Attention, focus, and clarity are biological states. They emerge from a combination of breathing patterns, body posture, sensory input, and subtle neurochemical shifts. If you want to achieve real, sustained focus, you have to influence these systems directly, and the good news is it only takes 5 minutes. First, let's understand why this works. When your attention drifts, it's not because you are lazy. It's because your brain is constantly balancing arousal, energy, and threat detection. In a noisy environment, your brain's default is to scan, to be alert, and to detect anything unusual. Focus is not the default. Focus is a controlled, trained state that requires the brain to filter out distractions and prioritize signals relevant to your goal. What this 5-minute routine does is reset the balance between alertness and calmness, allowing your brain to allocate resources efficiently. Start by finding a posture that supports attention. Sit upright, feet firmly on the floor, shoulders relaxed. The simple act of supporting your body with good posture sends signals to your brainstem and cortex that the body is ready for action but not for panic. With your body anchored, we move to the breathing phase, which is perhaps the most powerful element of this reset. Perform what's known as the physiological sigh, 2 short inhales through the nose immediately followed by a long exhale through the mouth. Do this for 3 cycles, slowly and deliberately. This simple respiratory pattern reduces internal tension, lowers unnecessary sympathetic nervous system activity, and rapidly calms the fight-or-flight noise in your nervous system. Within a minute, your body will feel lighter, your thoughts clearer, and your mind more prepared to focus. Next, we add a visual fixation component. Choose a single point in your environment, a dot on the wall, a small object on your desk, or even your own hand. Hold your gaze softly but steadily for 1 to 2 minutes. This isn't staring rigidly, but gently maintaining attention on a single target. What this does is fascinating. It reduces the spatial and sensory competition in your brain, effectively funneling your attentional resources. Think of it as narrowing the lens of a camera. The broader your gaze, the more noise enters your cortex. The narrower your gaze, the more the brain can dedicate itself to one channel of information. The 4th step introduces an optional alerting cue, designed to gently spike your norepinephrine levels and heighten vigilance. This can be as simple as splashing cool water on your face or doing a brief, sharp breath cycle, a strong inhale through the nose followed by a forceful exhale, and then returning to slow, nasal breathing. This quick neurochemical signal is enough to shift the brain from a passive to an active, attentive state without overstimulating it. It's important to note that this is optional. The breathwork and visual fixation alone are sufficient to induce a deep reset of focus. Finally, conclude with 3 slow nasal breaths, reconnecting with your body, sensing your posture, and mentally naming a single task you will execute. Say to yourself quietly, start one clear objective. This is your anchor, the cognitive trigger that marks the transition from resetting attention to executing focus. When you pair the physiological state with a clear cognitive target, you leverage both body and brain, dramatically increasing the likelihood of sustained, uninterrupted attention. This entire process works because it aligns with the brain's natural attention mechanisms. Breath controls autonomic tone, visual fixation reduces competing sensory signals, brief alerting cues stimulate neurochemical pathways associated with vigilance and clarity. And when you combine these elements, even for 5 minutes, your brain shifts into a state where focus is effortless. You are no longer fighting distractions. You are not relying on sheer willpower. You are activating a biological state optimized for attention. The most important part is consistency. Doing this reset once is useful. Doing it daily transforms the way your brain approaches tasks. Start your mornings with it. Use it before challenging projects. Even a 1-minute micro-reset during the day with a single physiological sigh and visual focus will recalibrate your attention and return you to high-performance thinking. Over time, this becomes automatic. Your brain learns to shift states more efficiently, and the longer the habit is practiced, the faster and deeper the reset occurs. Remember, attention is not a trait. It is a trainable state governed by biology and behavior. 5 minutes is all it takes to tilt the balance in your favor, to create calm yet alert energy, and to prime yourself for a productive, high-focus session. The tools are simple: posture, breathing, visual focus, and optional alert cues. The results are profound. Your brain is capable of more than you think. You simply need to give it the right conditions to operate in. Practice this reset, make it a ritual, and watch how your ability to focus transforms, one 5-minute session at a time. Today, we're going to uncover a simple but powerful 5-minute routine that can transform your brain into a laser-focused state. This isn't about motivation or willpower. It's about biology, about understanding how your brain naturally shifts between states of alertness and calmness. Focus is not a switch you flick on with determination alone. It emerges from a combination of nervous system activity, breathing patterns, posture, and sensory input. If you want your mind to perform at its highest level, you must influence these factors directly. And the most remarkable part is that it takes only 5 minutes. Your brain is constantly balancing competing priorities. It scans for potential threats, monitors the environment, and weighs internal signals of stress, energy, and fatigue. When your attention drifts, it's rarely because of laziness. It's because your brain is operating under default patterns that favor scanning over concentrated effort. Focus, then, is a trained and controlled state that can be triggered intentionally. This 5-minute reset is designed to do exactly that: shift the brain from scattered, reactive attention to concentrated, purposeful focus. The first step is posture. Sit upright, feet firmly grounded on the floor, shoulders relaxed but not slouched. This simple adjustment signals to your nervous system that the body is ready for cognitive work, but does not need to be in fight or flight mode. Your posture alone can modulate arousal and alertness, preparing your mind for the next phase: breathing. We use what is known as the physiological sigh. Inhale twice rapidly through the nose and then exhale slowly through the mouth. Repeat this cycle 3 times. This breathing pattern is a natural, built-in reset mechanism for your nervous system. It lowers internal tension, reduces stress-related chemicals in the brain, and stabilizes your mental state. Within moments, your body feels lighter, your chest more open, and your mind clearer. This simple act is enough to transition your brain into a calmer, more receptive state that is primed for focus. Next is visual fixation. Choose a small point in your environment, a spot on the wall, a mark on your desk, or even your own hand. Hold a gentle, steady gaze for 1 to 2 minutes. This soft focus is not about straining your eyes, but about narrowing the attentional bandwidth. By limiting the amount of visual information your brain must process, you reduce distractions and allow your cognitive resources to concentrate on the task at hand. This is essentially like narrowing the aperture of a camera lens, ensuring that only the most important signals reach the brain's focus circuits. Once your gaze is steady, you can optionally introduce an alerting cue. This might be splashing cold water on your face or performing a brief, sharp breath. One strong inhale through the nose, followed by a forceful exhale, then back to slow nasal breathing. This action triggers a temporary surge in neurochemicals such as norepinephrine, which heightens alertness, sharpens perception, and primes your brain for high-level thinking. While optional, this brief cue can accelerate the shift into focused attention, especially when preparing for challenging or cognitively demanding tasks. The final stage is anchoring intention. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths, feeling the body's position and noticing any residual tension. Mentally identify the task you are about to tackle. Say quietly to yourself, start one clear objective. This step integrates your physiological state with cognitive intention. By linking the body's readiness with a precise mental goal, you increase the likelihood of entering a sustained, uninterrupted state of attention. This routine is powerful because it aligns with how the brain naturally organizes focus. Controlled breathing modulates the autonomic nervous system, reducing unnecessary arousal while preserving alertness. Visual fixation channels attention by limiting competing sensory inputs. A brief alerting cue injects a transient spike of vigilance that heightens clarity. When combined, these elements create a state where focus emerges almost effortlessly. You are not battling distraction, you are creating the conditions in which focus happens naturally. Consistency is key. Doing this reset once is helpful, but doing it daily transforms your brain's ability to switch into focus rapidly. Begin your mornings with this routine. Use it before writing, coding, studying, or any task that requires intense attention. Even a 1-minute micro reset during the day, a single physiological sigh, a brief visual fixation, and a slow breath can recalibrate your attention and restore high-level cognitive function. Over time, the brain becomes trained to shift states more efficiently, allowing focus to be accessed faster and more reliably. Remember, attention is not a fixed trait, it is a trainable state. 5 minutes is all it takes to tilt the balance in your favor, creating calm, alert energy and priming your mind for optimal performance. With posture, breathing, visual focus, and optional alert cues, you hold the tools to unlock this state. Use them consistently, and your capacity for focused work will expand dramatically. Your brain is capable of far more than you realize. You just need to give it the right conditions to operate at its highest level. I want to show you a simple 5-minute routine that can shift your brain from scattered thoughts and distractions into an intense, laser-focused state. This is not about motivation or willpower. Focus is a biological state. It emerges from how your nervous system balances arousal, calmness, and attention. The moment you understand that attention is trainable and that you can intentionally trigger it in minutes, your approach to work, learning, and creativity will change completely. Let's begin with why this works. Your brain is constantly evaluating threats, scanning for novelty, and balancing internal chemical signals like stress hormones, dopamine, and norepinephrine. When you feel distracted, it is rarely because you are lazy. It is because your nervous system is not in a state optimized for focused work. The 5-minute brain reset changes this state. It realigns your body, your breathing, and your sensory input in a way that primes the brain for attention and clarity. It is a small investment of time with outsized returns for your productivity, creativity, and mental clarity. The first step is posture. Sit upright with your feet planted firmly on the ground and your shoulders relaxed. Avoid slouching. This simple adjustment communicates to your nervous system that your body is ready for cognitive work, but does not need to be in high alert or stress mode. Posture is a subtle but powerful cue that shifts your baseline arousal and prepares the body for deeper attention. Next, we engage the physiological sigh. Inhale twice quickly through the nose and follow immediately with a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Repeat this sequence 3 times. The physiological sigh is a natural mechanism built into your body to reset stress and tension. It lowers fight or flight signals, stabilizes brainstem activity, and allows mental clarity to emerge. Within moments, you will feel your body soften, your chest open, and your mind clearing. This is the first step in creating a brain state where focus becomes natural rather than forced. After stabilizing the body and calming the mind, we move to visual fixation. Choose a single point in your environment, a dot on the wall, a small object on your desk, or even your own hand. Hold your gaze softly for 1 to 2 minutes. This practice narrows your attentional bandwidth, reducing distractions from the environment. By limiting visual inputs, you give your brain a signal that it can concentrate on one task, one objective, one point of information. Your mind begins to filter irrelevant stimuli automatically, creating a mental spotlight that aligns perfectly with focused work. Now, we add an optional alerting cue. This could be splashing cold water on your face or performing one sharp, strong inhale through the nose followed by a forceful exhale, and then returning to slow nasal breathing. This brief sensory or physiological signal temporarily spikes neurochemicals like norepinephrine, heightening vigilance and mental clarity. It is particularly useful when preparing for high-stakes tasks or when your energy is low. Importantly, this is optional. The breathwork and visual fixation alone are already highly effective for resetting attention. Finally, anchor your intention. Take 3 slow nasal breaths and mentally identify the task you are about to focus on. Quietly say to yourself, start one clear objective. This integrates the physiological changes with cognitive intention, reinforcing the brain's ability to sustain focus. By connecting the body's reset with a specific goal, you dramatically increase the likelihood that your attention remains locked in on the task for a meaningful period. The beauty of this routine is in its simplicity and consistency. Doing it once is useful, but daily practice transforms how your brain shifts into focus. Begin your mornings with this reset before diving into important work. Use it before writing, coding, studying, or any task that requires deep attention. Even a micro reset of 1 minute during the day, one physiological sigh, one visual fixation, and a slow breath can recalibrate your mental state and restore high-level cognitive function. Over time, your brain learns to switch states more efficiently, making focus faster, deeper, and more reliable. Attention is not a fixed trait, it is a trainable biological state. 5 minutes is all it takes to create calm, alert energy and prime your brain for peak performance. The tools are simple: posture, breathing, visual focus, and optional alerting cues. Apply them consistently, and your ability to focus will grow, your productivity will improve, and your cognitive clarity will become a habit rather than a rare occurrence. Your brain is capable of far more than you realize. You only need to give it the right conditions to operate at its full potential. I'm going to teach you a 5-minute routine that can completely shift your brain into a state of extreme focus. This is not about motivation, caffeine, or sheer willpower. Your attention is a biological state, a function of how your nervous system, sensory input, and neurochemistry interact. When you understand that focus can be triggered in minutes by simple, precise actions, you gain a tool that changes how you approach work, learning, and creativity every single day. The first principle to understand is that distraction is not a flaw of character. It's a feature of the brain's default mode, which is designed to scan the environment for novelty, threats, and potential opportunities. Attention is not automatic. It requires the brain to prioritize certain signals while suppressing others. When your brain is scattered, it's not lazy. It's simply operating under its natural priorities. The 5-minute reset changes this. It shifts your brain into a state where focus becomes effortless because your body and mind are aligned to perform at their highest level. The first step is posture. Sit upright, feet firmly on the floor, shoulders relaxed. Avoid slouching or tensing your body unnecessarily. Posture is not just physical. It communicates to your brain that you are ready for action without stress. By aligning your body in a supported, alert position, you reduce low-level tension and create a stable foundation for the rest of the reset. Next, we use the physiological sigh. Inhale twice quickly through the nose and then exhale slowly through the mouth. Repeat this cycle 3 times. This is a built-in mechanism your body uses to release accumulated stress and regulate autonomic arousal. Within moments, your chest feels open, your nervous system calms, and your mind becomes clearer. This breathing pattern alone primes your brain for focus by reducing the internal noise that can distract you from a task. After the breathing phase, we move to visual fixation. Pick a single point in your environment, a small object, a dot on the wall, or even your own hand. Hold your gaze softly for 1 to 2 minutes. This is not a forced stare, but a gentle, sustained focus. By narrowing your visual attention, you reduce competing sensory input, funneling your brain's resources into a single channel. This helps prevent distractions from hijacking your cognitive resources. Think of it as pointing a spotlight inside your brain, illuminating only the task or thought you want to focus on. Once your body is calm and your visual attention is anchored, you can optionally introduce an alerting cue. This could be splashing cool water on your face or doing one sharp, strong breath, a quick inhale through the nose followed by a forceful exhale, then back to slow nasal breathing. This brief cue spikes norepinephrine, which heightens alertness, sharpens perception, and prepares your mind for high-demand cognitive work. While optional, this step can accelerate your transition into focused attention, especially when energy is low or tasks are challenging. The final step is intention anchoring. Take 3 slow nasal breaths, notice the state of your body, and clearly identify the task you are about to perform. Say quietly to yourself, start one clear objective. This connects the physiological reset with cognitive intention, reinforcing your brain's ability to sustain focus. By linking body and mind, you create a state in which focus emerges naturally and distraction is less likely to intrude. The power of this routine lies in its simplicity and reliability. Posture sets the stage, breathing regulates the nervous system, visual fixation channels attention, and optional alert cues amplify vigilance. Together, these steps create a brain state optimized for high-level focus, productivity, and clarity. You are not forcing attention. You are creating the conditions for it to arise naturally. Consistency is key. Practicing this reset daily rewires the brain's ability to enter focus rapidly. Use it in the morning before work, before studying, or prior to any high-demand task. Even a short micro-reset, one physiological sigh, a brief visual focus, and a slow breath during the day recalibrates your attention and restores cognitive performance. Over time, the brain learns to shift states efficiently, making deep focus accessible whenever you need it. Remember, attention is a trainable state, not a fixed trait. 5 minutes is all it takes to prime your brain for calm, alert energy and high-level cognitive performance. The tools are simple, portable, and effective. Posture, breathing, visual focus, and optional alert cues. Practice them consistently, and your brain's capacity for focus, clarity, and productivity will grow dramatically. Your mind is capable of far more than you realize. You just need to give it the right conditions to perform at its peak. Now go do one reset right now, 3 sighs, lock your gaze, and choose one clear action. Start small, win often. Your brain is capable of far more than you think. You just need to give it the right state to operate in. Thank you for watching Brain Decoded. If this landed for you, try the reset for a week and tell me what changes. Finish strong.